Hi there, my friend. You are watching or listening to the ERIN Chase Show, where we chat all things intentional living and trying to find that ever elusive balance in our busy, overwhelming lives. And I'm your host, ERIN Chase, and we are continuing our money theme that we've been chatting about here in the month of July. And I'm going to do a quick recap of the last two episodes that were kind of personal finance focused. And then I want to share some encouragement and inspiration and some challenging ideas. It's very much I'm preaching to myself, and I hope that it is an encouragement to you as well. The main theme of today's episode is just going to be maintaining positive thoughts about money. So if you struggle with things like, I never have enough, I'm tired of going paycheck to paycheck, what do I do about food being so expensive, especially right now with inflation? Those types of things, if that is part of your inner dialogue, which I pretty much can confidently say that's everybody, myself included, I want you to stick around and listen to some of the encouragement and just challenging thoughts that I'm going to share with you guys here this afternoon. If you are watching this live, welcome. So glad that you're here. And of course, you might be catching the replay, which we share. It lives here on Facebook where we record it. It also gets uploaded to YouTube and to Vimeo, and also the podcast is on the podcast player. So if you're listening later on, thank you for joining. Okay, super quick recap of the two episodes that we've done. Of course, you can watch the full ones, but really fast. We talked the first week of July about inflation of food prices and what we can do about that. Obviously, this is $5 dinners. I'm all about budget-friendly recipes and sharing ideas that are going to help you spend less money on groceries. So that was the first episode in the sort of money series. And the idea there is 3 things that you can do starting this week, starting today, starting your next grocery trip, is to track your spending very, very closely. If that's something that either you don't track at all or you kind of look at it at the end of the month, my challenge for you right now, especially in this sort of inflationary season that we're in here in the United States, I know I have people from all over the place, but this works anywhere, regardless of the inflation situation or where you live. But to track what you're spending, because when you're tracking, there's just this little extra ounce of accountability that helps you be just more mindful of what you're spending and how much you're spending on food, both groceries and dining out. Also planning. It's really important that you get extra into your planning of your meals, especially planning meals around things that are on sale this particular week at your grocery store. And also the third thing is, so track, plan, and then get meat when it's on sale. If you've learned anything from me in the last 13 years of me doing this, almost 13 years, in a month, it's 13 years, which is wild. If you've learned anything from me, let it be get meat when it's on sale and turn it into freezer meals. That's why my entire freezer meal program exists. Okay. More on that in other past episodes. You can go back and listen to the episode from July 6th to hear a little bit more about all of that. But that's a quick recap of groceries, tracking, planning, and then taking advantage of when the meat's on sale and turning that meat into freezer meals so that you don't have to pay full price for meat when it's not on sale. Okay, those are the 3 notes from the first episode. The last week's episode was about managing your cash. I think during inflationary seasons, it's really important that we manage our cash well. Investments, it's a little bit more of a volatile situation right now. If you pay any attention to the stock market or your investments or your retirement accounts or whatever, don't just hang on. Just let it ride. It'll get better. Just chill on all that. But when it comes to maintaining your cash, I think there's a couple things you can do. Super quick recap. Reevaluate your needs and wants list. I shared that we're not going to be buying a used car right away. We have a new driver in the family, and so we were going to pass down my husband's car and get a new car for my husband, a used car. But we're going to hold off on that a little bit while longer while we evaluate the inflation in the used car market is actually pretty high right now. So we're going to reevaluate the needs and wants. That I think is a need, but we're going to try 2 cars with 3 drivers for a little bit, and it's probably going to become a need, but we'll see how the fall shapes up. Control what you can control. Number 2, I think food is the easiest thing for you to control. If you need to shave $100 anywhere in your budget, it's going to be food. Whether you have a healthy full budget of lots of things you're paying for, or a trimmed down budget. If you really need things quickly or cash quickly, you can find it in your food budget. The third thing is wait. If there's a project you were trying to do, something that you needed to take care of, an improvement, an update, whatever it is, if you can, wait. I know not everything can be waited on, but if you can wait until things settle back down. I know, like, if you've been paying attention to the price of lumber, this is a good example. That's not normal inflation. That's kind of a niched seasonal type of inflation, but the prices flew up. They've come back down. But if you have a lumber project you need to do, if you can wait, please wait, because you're basically just flushing money down the drain with the inflation and the overage. It was like 30, 40, 50%. It was wild how much that went up. But if there's something specific like that, like for us right now, it's used cars. We don't have any major lumber projects that we need to be considering, but wait if you can. Number 3. Number 4, set aside some cash. My point there was, I don't think that a lot of personal finance gurus and experts will say, you need to have $1,000 in an emergency fund. Well, I hate to say it, and I would encourage you to consider that I don't think $1,000 is enough anymore. I think you should bump that up to $1,200 or $1,500 or $2,000. It's obviously going to depend on your month to month budget and what that looks like. But $1,000, I hate to even say it just doesn't go as far as it used to. You can obviously stretch things, but if you really do have an emergency that you don't want to pull from your kind of week to week, month to month cash, I think you need more than $1,000. So set aside cash. And I think now is a good time to be doing that when we're super hyper focused on our budgets because of the inflation. And the last thing is, if you do have extra cash, you can set it aside where you can access it quickly. But if it is cash that you don't necessarily need right away, go ahead and invest it into the market. I think that's a great thing to do. That's not something I talk about a lot here, but I think it's something that is a great place to do that. And if you want any advice on that, leave a comment. I can share it. I'm not going to go into all the specifics, but my basic recommendations is a zero brokerage account of some kind. I would recommend, I'll just say it, Ally Bank has an investment side that you can use. They have some really great account options. There's another one out there that got in a lot of hot water earlier this year. I've never used it. I don't recommend it because of all the hot water, because some of the politics behind there. But anyways, go with Ally. And then track on a fund or invest in a fund that tracks the S&P 500. That's just a pretty conservative, low risk type of investment. And if you, what I would call, or what is called dollar cost average, where you just add $25 a month, $30 a month into those trades, then you're going to be setting aside and protecting cash. So those are the recaps of working with your money through inflation, both as it relates to food and then just in general, some general advice. And today I wanted to talk about, Gloria, I'll put some notes in the comments here when I finish, okay? Today I wanted just to talk about maintaining positive money thoughts and what that looks like. So it's easy. I do it too. And I think I've done it more so in the past 18 months than maybe before. And that's just because of the volatility of everything that's going on with, the shutdowns and the virus and the uncertainties of things and what's going on, with my husband's business and with my business. We both own our own businesses. So there was just a lot of fear's not the right word, just uncertainty. Obviously, we've all experienced this. And so I think while I try really hard to gravitate towards some of these things that I'm going to share here in a minute, I kind of got away from it. I'll just be honest. I got away from this in the last 18 months, and I've been working towards moving back towards it, which is why I wanted to share it here, because it's a little bit personal, but it's also just really solid, and inspirational advice is what I hope it will be. And so when it comes to, I don't have enough, I wish I could do this, I want to be able to travel here, whatever it is, right? One of those things for me was I wanted a new fridge, and I do have it now. But I had this thought of, I'm never going to have enough extra money to get this new fridge that I wanted. I knew how much it was. I knew how much the sale prices were. I literally tracked this thing for like probably 2+ years. And it took our house flooding and having to renovate everything, that in that entire process, we were able to reallocate some cash to, one, upgrades, and two, the fridge. And I remember when my husband came in and we were actually in the rental home. I remember it so clearly. He's like, for Mother's Day, we're going to get you a fridge. Because he knew I'd been wanting it for like 2 years. And I was so excited. But it was this whole big dramatic thing that got me there. But for 2 years, I waited and I tracked, because I knew the one that I wanted, and I knew I wanted to get a great price on it. And it just was never the right time with all the other sort of personal finance and expenses and things that have been going on in our world the last couple of years. And so that's just an example of, I want this thing, I never have, it's just this it was just kind of this negative, like, I'm never gonna be able to get that fridge. I know that sounds really silly and sounds very first world problem, but I know you're thinking about something like that in your own life. And I wanna challenge you to flip the script, okay? To change the thoughts from, I don't have enough, I'm tired of living paycheck to paycheck, to thoughts of gratitude and appreciation. I love gratitude so much. I've studied it in great detail. I've read a lot of books about it. I have blogged about it. I think it's been a couple of years now, but I might try and dig that up. But I think that it's a great antidote to the negative, right? It's such a positive, but I think it's the right kind of positive that's the antidote to the negative. So grabbing onto gratitude and just being appreciative of whatever this thing is. And I kind of wish that I had done that with the fridge. Like, my fridge was fine. My fridge was fine. And the fridge that I had before, it was a little small for a family of four hungry boys. And that fridge is now out in the garage. So we're one of those like garage fridge families now, because we literally need the space for all the food. I like to shop weekly, so it helps me to create the space for all the food and the systems for lunches and whatever. We'll get into that next month. But I wish I had been more grateful for the fridge that I had. I just kept thinking, I want this new fridge. I know this drawer is going to be, we have the 4 doors, so it's got a drawer and the 2 French doors. And I knew the freezer would be a little bit small, but I knew I'd have a second fridge. So anyways, I wish I had done that. And so when I have something now that I want to be able to update, at the present moment, that is our back deck. And that's going to wait a long while because of the lumber prices. But I've kind of just put it out of my mind. And when it does creep into my mind, I'm taking this like, well, I'm grateful for the deck that we have and the time that we can spend outside on our deck. And so grabbing onto whatever the negative is and flipping it to a positive, I think helps us with the specific things, but it also helps us just with our overall mindset and thinking about money. The idea here, and there's a lot of people that I know have talked about this a little bit more in depth, but I wanted to share these couple specific examples. But thinking about, it's basically scarcity would be the word, and abundance is probably another good word. So the scarcity thinking of, I don't have enough, I'm living paycheck to paycheck, I'm never going to be able to get this thing, to abundance of, I am going to start saving money for, or setting aside money for this new fridge. We are going to make this a priority and set up, whatever kind of fund or earmarking whatever kind of money each particular month that you have available to go towards this thing. So switching it from, I don't have enough, I'm never going to get there, to this mindset of abundance and working towards doing that. And if you really get down to it, I've said this before, if you want an extra $20 to put towards something, I guarantee you can find it in your food spending. Food spending is one of those things that is really high, or I shouldn't say it's really high. it's something we have to eat every day. So we're spending money on food, whether it's going to the grocery store or going out to eat or picking up, a pizza or whatever it is. So if you can dial in on your food, then you can find a little bit of extra change for this, whatever this thing is over here. Okay. So I want you to think about scarcity versus abundance and flipping the script in your mind. Okay. There's a lot of scenarios where this is going to come up, and this also just doesn't apply to money. This applies to, if you're exercise or you're eating, I'm never going to be skinny enough. I'm never going to lose the 5 pounds I'm going to, whatever it is. Flip the script, you guys, just flip the script. Okay. And I think that ultimately, grabbing on to this gratitude and this attitude of appreciation will help you spin more of that positive and will help have that impact in your life. So moving on, we end every episode with think, feel, take action, because I think that is a good, the way we think determines the way we feel, which determines the action that we take. So I want you to think in terms of abundance, and some of the things that I have outlined here, or just examples that I've shared here today of thoughts and maybe scenarios or situations. I want you to think with an abundant mindset, okay? And I want you to then feel the contentment and feel the gratitude of, whatever this, thing that you're struggling with or trying to flip the script. And the taking action then is putting into action or work whatever the thing you're trying to flip. So maybe it's, okay, I'm going to set aside $25 a month to put towards this thing. I'm going to spend a little bit more time researching to find a better deal on this thing. Or I'm going to I'm just going to erase from my brain the fact that we probably need to update our deck. Like literally there are parts of our deck that need to be updated. We might end up just doing the parts instead of the one whole section. But anyways, just whatever the action that you need to take based on kind of what's swirling in your brain as I chat here about this now, take action on that. So think abundance, feel contentment and feel that gratitude, and then take action towards just 1-2 little small steps towards whatever it is that you need to do here, with helping change the positive money thoughts. And when you change the positive money thoughts, I'm curious to see what happens in your life. I'll let you guess at what that might be. So that's it for this episode of the ERIN Chase Show. That'll wrap up our quick little 3-episode blurb about sort of money and personal finance. Next month is August, which is back to school month here for our family and for anybody who's got kids going back to school in August or early September. And so we're going to do a lot of, I'm going to share a lot of ideas and hacks and tips for making the most of the back to school season. So that's what I'll be sharing in August. I will be off next week. I'll be traveling next week, so I'll be off next Tuesday. But we will be back, of course, in 2 weeks with that kind of back to school, get ahead of yourself, one step ahead. I can't wait to share that with you then. So for now, if you please subscribe to the ERIN Chase Show. If you're watching here on Facebook, you can subscribe to live notifications. We have 2 live shows a week here on the Facebook page. And then, of course, if you're listening later on, the replay, either on YouTube or on a podcast player, you can subscribe to the show there. As well, we release the replays, are usually out by Friday morning. So that is all for this episode. It's bye for now, and we'll talk again soon.